Blessings, everyone. We're going to talk today about being the calm within the chaos. There is a lot happening upon our planet, and the energies and the realities are extreme and intense, and we can find it hard to be the calm, within the chaos that is playing out around us. So today, as we're talking about being calm within the chaos, I felt it was appropriate to come out into the orchard here where I live, and just surround ourselves with this balancing, calming energy of these trees. So I invite you to just take a moment with me, breathing into your heart space and balancing out loud or silently within your own self. Command your light body to come into balance now. Exhale and feel yourself coming into a calm space. If you don't quite feel calm, do it again. And just constantly, when we are feeling that the chaos is becoming too much for us, or when we feel that we are spinning out of control, we can lay down or sit however is comfortable for us and command our light body to rebalance itself. Command the light body to release any and all density and to balance itself now. And feel that body. You can feel your vessel. You can feel yourself. Sometimes you'll feel yourself actually moving like this as your light body is coming into balance. If you're not as in tune and you still have more density in your body, you won't feel it as much in that way, but you can feel little tingles or sensations in the body as you are coming into balance. And just breathing into that heart space. This is your stargate. This is your source portal. This is where you get your light from. And it is here that we are connected as the center of the universe, the center of our universe, as an expression of the infinite creator that we are. We wrote recently about the collapse of the third and fourth dimensional. Human society is collapsing. And at the Divine Organization, we are always wanting and willing to share with the collective consciousness of this planet the highest truth that is available, and that is the truth of one. And so your truth through this may be different, because truth is based on the consciousness that resides in you or anyone else, that consciousness position within the universal time matrix. So wherever we are dimensionally and vibrationally is going to affect how we see our truth. And there's no right or wrong. And that it really is the truth of one, is that everything is true because we live in an infinite universe. And so what we have been sharing recently is about the collapse of the collective fourth and third dimensional reality. So we are saying this is the collapse of human society. We are on the precipice of the birth of the divine human society. And it's a really beautiful time on our planet when we can see it this way. But it isn't easy to see it this way when we are surrounded by chaos. And so, the human society collapse is one of the things that I wanted to talk more about today. Because when you say human society is collapsing, that can be very frightening. And that can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. So I just want to bring some clarity around what does that mean exactly when we say the third and fourth dimensional realities are collapsing, human society is collapsing. What does that mean? Is it Armageddon? Because we have these movies and doomsday and the Bible and everything, and so there's just so many narratives playing out that when we write, human society is collapsing, it could really bring on anxiety for some folks. So again, let's talk about it. Human society is third and fourth dimensional consciousness. If we remember in the previous video, we said the same consciousness inhabits this vessel when we exit human consciousness. It's the same thing with society. So what is playing out right now is, because we have lived this very separate consciousness, we have not been in tune with our planet and in ourselves together as one unit in what we are doing to our planet and what we are doing to each other. There's this very inequality of resources on our planet, or wealth or energy. There is the pollution and all of these things that we are doing to Gaia because we are very separate from Gaia. So because of our behaviors of separation, we have created these realities that now must collapse. We cannot continue to live separate from each other, separate from our true self, and separate from our planet if we wish to continue to have human realities here. Our species will die off, will become extinct. The planet shall remain. And so what is happening is that we're having a collective wake-up. The last couple of years, we had the dark night of the soul collectively, and we are facing right now that pivotal moment where on our journey we tend to hit rock bottom. There's nowhere else to go, right? And many of us that are watching this video, the one that's making this video, as consciousness, have gone through this and can attest to the fact that on the journey there becomes a moment where the old you just hit rock bottom with it, and there's nowhere else to go. The only way is to look up towards the light and begin your ascension. And that's where we are. So when we say that the human realities are collapsing, it really means that the way that things are going now, it can't continue. And so the realities are going to, let's take some examples. Yesterday, I was reading the news, which is a dangerous thing in itself. But there is a hurricane going into the New Orleans area. And in my human existence, I lived in the South and through hurricanes, and I have family where the storm is going in that human narrative. And so I was I was watching it, and reading that, you know, there's a hospital where the baby is little babies with COVID, and you know, and they're being all the evacuations, and then the medical staff is strained. So it was like choo 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 choo, you know, like it's like a house of cards, you know, and you just keep putting more and more and more till boom, the whole thing is going to collapse. And that's what was playing out. So we can see this happening across the world. You know, it's like it's not just one thing happening to people or happening to the collective. It's just like the pandemic, you know, another round of the pandemic, the fires, the hurricanes, you know, the getting evicted, you know, not having money for food. All of this has just like been compounding, and when the last straw is going to come, and it's going to break that camel's back. And that's what we mean by the collapse. It's just that people will absolutely cannot take anymore. The hospitals are full, they can't take anymore. It's going to collapse. And it's from that break that we look to the higher power. You know, have you ever been in a situation where, you know, it's a tornado, or something's happening, a family member's sick, whatever? We always look to something, you know, and it's in that moment of that break that allows the light to come in. And so that's what we're seeing. You know, it's not going to be that, you know, a lot of people are going to die, and the planet is, you know, we're heading for Armageddon, but a lot of people are going to suffer, and a lot of devastation is going to continue, you know, by way of natural disasters and the pandemic and this sort of thing, until it just absolutely crushes the collective, and it breaks. It breaks, and in that moment, we have to choose. We have to choose what we're going to do. We have to choose whether we're going to get a vaccine or not. We're going to have to choose whether we're going to move to get an electric vehicle. We're going to have to choose whether we're going to stop consuming. We're going to have to choose whether to send our kid to school in a mask, or, you know, we're going to have to choose whether to come together as nations and implement climate change. All of these things are going to happen by way of conscious choice. We're not going to be holding hands and walking down the street and coming into complete oneness. We're not there yet. But we are going to begin, or not to begin, we are going to see that my neighbor and I, we are in this together. And it's no longer, well, I'm just going to lie and say I got a vaccine and go around the public and go into all these places. Or I'm going to still, you know, pollute the water by my factory and let everyone else pick up the pieces of the planet. You know, let someone else handle carbon emissions. I'm not hurting anything by doing my one little thing over here. That's what I mean. We can't do it anymore. So the majority of humans are going to wake up to the truth of what's happening on our planet, to the truth that we must unite as a species, not only to save ourselves, but the kingdoms, you know, that have suffered through these natural disasters as well, and Gaia, you know, and really begin to make viable solutions to build a new reality collectively, and it's going to make changes in our world. We talk about changes, and many of us, we see the pictures with the you know, like that I put on the last post with the crystalline pyramids, and The Stargate was open, the source light was coming down the San Francisco Bridge, and we think that that's going to come like as soon as we shift to New Earth. And I wish it would, but well, no, I don't. I shouldn't even say that, because I don't wish it would, because it's part of the journey, is creating that and really embracing the journey, because that is there's so much joy in the journey, So, and I don't want to get sidetracked, because I felt like I was about to get sidetracked. But when the change that we are going to see, it comes slightly. For instance, we all know in the U.S. we had a president previous to the one that is in office now that had a very important role in the collective consciousness of playing a reflection for us. And it wasn't a pretty reflection. It was a reflection we needed to see. And we all know that collectively as a country, this country, voted for change. We didn't want, now if you're taking the majority, the collective, I'm not getting political, I want to demonstrate to you how to see the change. Collectively, we voted in a new administration, a new president, and in January that president was inaugurated. I don't follow politics, I don't know everything that the president has done since going in office or whatnot, but I was really guided and tuned in, to watch that inauguration. And in that inauguration, there were some very important signs that showed New Earth. And that was the First Lady during the inauguration wore all aqua. From her hand gloves to her coat, earrings, everything was pure aqua. And that is the divine feminine, Mother God, Sophia, aqua ray frequencies, which really said, look, the divine feminine is coming in here as well. And that's huge, because that showed some balance. But instead of where we had that very masculine energy before, now we had this divine feminine energy. And I can't speak to the character of the First Lady, and I won't do that. I'm simply saying we are watching for the signs from the universe that change is coming for a new Earth. So the first sign was that inauguration outfit. And then later in the night, her outfit was pure white. So again, these were signs. And another thing was the poet laureate, Amanda Gorman, wrote a poem that we are the light. We are coming. We are the light, and we are coming to make change. It was a beautiful poem. If you haven't read it, I would look it up, because it is inspiring. Amanda Gorman was 22, and it was a big deal. Her age was a big deal and spoken about a lot, because she was the youngest poet laureate in the history of our country. But she was 22, and if you understand the master build of the universe, the master builder frequency is 22. And so, and the poem is, we are the light, we are coming, we are bringing change. Oh, I got goosebumps, because it's not necessarily that this particular young lady or the First Lady are bringing the change. It was showing us collectively what we're doing. And so I'm saying, by using that as an example, to watch the outside. Change, like what we kind of expect, the crystalline pyramids and it's not going to come overnight. But there will be signs in the collective reality. There'll be signs that the collective reality has completely collapsed. When you're going to see us shut down, or the church coming out, as the collective consciousness, this vessel is going to travel in September to 3 patriotic seats the patriarch seats of 3 major churches of Christianity. And the Vatican being one of them. The other 2 are in Turkey. And at that time, the divine feminine frequencies are going to come in to those places. The churches represents a very masculine approach. The feminine was left out of Christianity in the beginning, and that's just part of the collective story of ascension, and that, you know, so we don't need to get into why and how and whose fault and no. It's just part of the story that's playing out. But we're going to bring that divine feminine and bring those energies back to where those patriarch seats are, and there is no getting around it. Religion is changing. It's going to change, and things are going to come out, and the truth is going to come out, and that's part of that collapse, you know. And so we will watch for the change that way, and it will be subtle. Remember, we talk a lot here about things are subtle. We have expectations as humans, that things, you know, that there's just this massive change that's going to take place, and it's not how it works. Think about when we were driving buggies and horses, and then we moved to automobiles. There's a transition period. So automobiles are introduced and people start driving automobiles, and some people are still taking their horse and buggy, and some people will never drive an automobile. They will always use their horse and buggy till the day they die because they're not getting in a car. But the rest of the collective comes on, and eventually we have all cars and we don't have any horses and buggies. So let's look at the horse and buggy as the 3rd and 4th dimension, and the automobile as the 5th dimension. So we're going to be coming into the 5th dimension consciousness. As a majority, the planet is going to be moving into 5th dimension. But there's going to be those people that are going to stay. But the collective is moving. So this that is staying back here on their horse and buggy, or the 3rd and 4th dimension, it can't affect the masses. It can't affect the mass timeline, the collective timeline. So don't expect that every single person or every single country is going to immediately, you know, come out of the 3rd and 4th dimension. And the reason, that's part of the reason that I felt to make this video today, is to really help manage those expectations that we might have, because I know that we all want this to go away. You know, we want the pandemic to go away, and we want the fires to stop, and we want the big storms to stop, and we want refugees to have a home, and we want, you know, religion to come out and share the truth, and all of these different things we want in our heart, because we are wanting to unify. Just know that it takes time. We are going to unify by way of coming into the realization that we cannot continue going on the way we have. And by coming into that realization, we're going to begin to make choices individually and collectively that are going to continue to move us towards unifying. Okay? But it's not going to be, we're not all going to be walking around saying, you know, we're one consciousness. When we switch over, sorry, there's ashes raining down from the fire, so there's ashes actually coming down right now. But it's important to be able to see the victories of consciousness moving forward, like at the inauguration, the signs that were there. So tune yourself into being able to see the signs of the universe, and you'll be able to see the change happening, even when it's hard to see it on that scale sometimes. So the collective human reality is going to collapse. Human society will collapse in the sense that we cannot go on like we have been, and we're going to wake up to that. Is every 100% of the population of the planet going to wake up to that? No. And so we have compassion for those that are here to play out those other lower dimensional realities, to help keep balance to the light body. Because just as with the horse and buggy and the automobiles, for a long time there wasn't garages and mechanics and things like that. So, you know, the people that were still doing horse and buggies were needed. They were needed still, because there were people still using horses and buggies trying to transition to the new. The infrastructure has to be built to support the new, right? We had to get service stations built across the planet to petrol stations, gas stations, you know. We had to train people to be mechanics, you know. So again, there's a transition. It's the same thing moving forward. We're not all going to have an electric vehicle in 2022, but you're going to see a big push moving forward, moving us forward. New technologies coming out. If you notice, I'm in the orchard speaking to you. We have an orchard. Christos and I, here is a almond orchard, and was looking at these new technologies for the weeds, and it's robots, and they just drive along and they laser the weeds like zip, zip, zip. You know, the technology is coming. It's in its infancy. It's really expensive right now, but it's the change coming, you know. So it's happening so that there's not, you know, you don't have to use anything for the weeds, this sort of thing. So again, noticing, you know, don't get hung up on, you know, we want to see massive change right now, but being able to see the change as it's happening, because like we said before, when you're going through something, it's really hard to see it. You know, when the caterpillar's in the cocoon and he's stretching, trying to break out and trying to, you know, like strengthen his wings, when he pops out, he's a butterfly. Had no idea while he was in the cocoon, thought he was a caterpillar still. So again, this is part of, you know, change and how it works. And again, let's just talk about being the calm, because it's not easy for realities to collapse. And in your own live stream, you may be experiencing this. You may be in the middle of a big move in your life, you know, or having to leave a job that it's not suitable for you anymore, and you don't know where your next dollar is going to come from. You know, or you may be having to let go of some really important people that were in your life but no longer vibrationally aligned to your realities. These are, you know, these are your own human realities collapsing, just as the collective human realities are collapsing. And it's not always easy. You know, it's a lot easier to say, look at it as a story, go inside, you know, and then let it go. But when you're in it, it's not that easy. I mentioned before yesterday, I was looking at the hurricane that is coming into the south part of the U.S. And I was reading something about the evacuation failure in New Orleans, and knowing what happened with Katrina, and all of a sudden I said, oh, I sat back in the chair and I closed my eyes and I said, it's a story. It's a story, and I'm being pulled into the story. I'm not going to get pulled into the story. I understand what's happening on this planet and why it has to happen. I trust. I am love. I am light. There I am. There I am. There I am. Because just like that, and just that one article, that one sentence, and boom, you know, you're pulled in the story. But you can just close your eyes and come out of the story. Remember what we're doing here. We have to let go of the old. And then when we are in human separation consciousness, it's not easy to let go of the old. So the universe collapses. It literally puts us to rock bottom before we can really see the light and go, oh, okay, now I see. Because you know what? There's nowhere else to go but up from here. And that's where we are. And this is the last time and the only time that we're going to hit rock bottom as a collective. Once we get into the fifth dimensional bandwidth, the realities will continue to collapse as we ascend, but they will collapse easier. We won't have to go to rock bottom. But separation consciousness, it's just, you don't see the light. We don't see it. And it's made that way. You know, that's part of the game. That's part of the story that we're playing out here. So it's not a bad thing. You know, there's no good, there's no bad. Again, when we find ourselves being pulled into it, just coming in, coming back in, and reminding ourselves what we're doing here. When it becomes so unbearable in your reality, you know, like some days the dismantling can be a lot. Remember to take some time away, you know, let it all go. Let go of ascension, let go of purifying, let go of trying to be anything, and go have some fun. You know, whatever that is. You have a dance party in your living room, you know, come sit out here with the trees, wherever you are. I'm sure there's a tree somewhere. Go have an ice cream, you know. Just let it go. Let it go till you can just feel okay again and reapproach it. Because it's a lot. Right now, the collective energies they're really, really intense, guys. And because I feel them, I purify those through my light body, and I know when it's really tuned up, and we are expecting more as we go towards the equinox. But remember that we are collapsing an entire collective society so that we can begin building an entirely new society based in unity, love, and respect for all life. And it has to start somewhere. So here we are in this now together on this planet, each and every one of us. If, you know, we're not going through this, then we remain as the lighthouse in neutrality. Yesterday after that, I had so much compassion, and then for a moment I wanted to send, you know, some sort of healing or love, and I said, who are you? There's nothing to send. Be the light. Think about a lighthouse. A lighthouse sits on the point. It doesn't go out and save the ships when they're sinking. It doesn't go out and help pull the ship in. The lighthouse does its job. It continues to shine the light, day and night, storm or sunshine, and allows all to come to it. It lights the way home. If the lighthouse is out doing other things, then not everyone can see it. And so the lighthouse shines the light by being the light 24/7, 365 days a week for all to find their way home. Anything that we can do for this collective ascension, excuse me, if we are not in the position of having to dismantle and work through our own things, just be the light. Don't try to do anything, but be neutrality. Be the light. Be neutral. Unconditional love for all that is happening. And in those moments where you feel the chaos is too much, come in and just be the light. Just picture yourself as the big old lighthouse, sitting on a point, humanity all around you. Just be the light. That's the greatest gift any of us can give to the one consciousness, as the one consciousness. I love you. I love you so much. And I know that each and every one of us as pure consciousness is doing exactly what we are meant to be doing in these bodies at this now moment for our own ascension and for the collective ascension of this planet. Trust that all is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. Remember, in times of despair or unknowing or uncertainty or doubt or fear, because all of those things are fear, that if we're feeling fear, we have come away from our own true self. And let us stop and face that fear, knowing that it is an illusion, knowing that only love is real. You are love, and you are light, and we are one collective light. Breathing into your heart again. Imagine your heart as this portal of light just opening wider and wider, pure white light, connecting to this infinite void space that is the source of all light. And this light is filling your entire vessel with a radiance, high frequency light of unconditional love. Breathing it into every cell of your body and exhaling it out into your hologram. Everything you see is a vibrational match to you. When you see it all as love, you are all love here. So in any moment that you feel or see yourself going into judgment, or you want to see the story as something separate, open that stargate, open your heart, and let the love radiate back out into your hologram and see it. See it as love. See it as yourself. I love you so much. We are going to continue to have, an interesting September. Know that you're supported and guided and loved beyond anything you can imagine. And when possible, radiate that love to others, because so many need it now. Enjoy this moment. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your journey. The perceived good and bad, because they're all an experience to teach you how to be unconditional love, your true self. I love you.